Stepdad told her the day that they talked that Malaya left a message around 6 in the morning on May 2nd to the school switchboard. So she called and left a message. The mother of Lily and Jack, Malaya, left a message at what time, you guys? 6. How did this mother? Why didn't she see Lily and Jack? If she's up at 6 making a call to the school to report her child sick, she didn't go look at her kid to see if the kid's sick? How are you? Welcome to Mama D and my beautiful family. We're going to be talking about Jack and Lily Sullivan. Lily is 6 and Jack is 4, and they're missing from Lansdowne Station in Nova Scotia. We're on 20th day of them missing, and I didn't want to keep covering the case until there was information to share. And there is. Now we're finding out they actually were seen on May 1st in the afternoon. Okay, in public with family members. Proof of life Thursday, investigators have confirmed Lily and Jack were seen in public with family members on the afternoon of May 1st. Based on details police have gathered, the RCMP declined an interview request from CBC News. So we're not going to get any more than that. What do you feel happened to Lily and Jack Sullivan? If you are choosing A, then you believe that they may have been abducted, maybe on the road. Maybe they walked out to the road and were thinking they were going to go to school, and some stranger drove by and was like, hey, I'll give you a ride to school. Okay. Choose B, you're believing your gut is telling you it could be an accident cover up at home. No scent leads off that property. After all those canine units went in the trailer, under the trailer, through the camper, under the camper, through all the outbuildings, all over that property, every dog handler and YouTuber that's been in cases for a while and dealt with having to do massive research on cadaver dogs and scent dogs and how good they can track and all this, none of them picked up Jack nor Lily's scent leaving that property. Now remember, Daniel stressed Lily and Jack would not cross that road. He was adamant about it. Right here, if there's no scent trail, that tells me they taken in a car from the property. Thank you. You finished my thought. Thank you, Courtster. That begs the question, were they removed off the property by a vehicle? Or C, the children may have wandered into the woods. Remember, this is nature and natural to Lily and Jack Sullivan. They played in those woods. They love the woods. They're woods kind of kids. So it's not unnatural to think that they may have went to play in the woods and gotten lost. Would they have been found by now? Could they have been missed? Why are they not finding a book bag, a pair of boots, a boot, nothing? Or D, foul play at home? That is your poll. I'll do my very best and come back to it. I've got it up on the whiteboard for us. Hey, Cassie Fedrick says Daniel claims he passed his lie detector test, but I won't believe it until the RCMP says he did. He actually never said he passed his test. He shakes his head no the whole time, but he says, I'm just going to say it this way. It was favorable for me. That's like not saying yes. That's like, I'm going to avoid it and I'm going to make this favorable for me. Great aunt of Daniel. Yes. All right. And she has put out a post, or at least had put out a post. And you can see her little icon over there. And she says, Daniel told me that day we talked. So I don't know what day this is, but she's saying Daniel. So the stepdad told her the day that they talked that Malaya left a message around 6 in the morning on May 2nd to the school switchboard. So she called and left a message. The mother of Lily and Jack, Malaya, left a message at what time, you guys? 6. Why didn't she see Lily and Jack? If she's up at 6 making a call to the school to report her child sick, she didn't go look at her kid to see if the kid's sick? How does she know Lily's sick if she didn't go look at Lily? Why did Jack not go to school? How did she know that the kids were there at 6? She just gets up, makes a call to the switchboard, leaves a message to call him in, but never goes checks on her kids. Like I said, Malaya's lawyered up, allegedly, we'll say, but she did leave the county for sure, and it's very strongly being told that she lawyered up, which I would too at this point because it doesn't look good when the scent doesn't leave the property. Here's the biggest part of this. The minute that you don't have eyes on your 6-year-old or 4-year-old, knowing that these children are more comfortable in the woods rather than a road, and you yourself have been adamant these children would never cross the road. So obviously, you've taught your children that the road is dangerous. Why would you then, your first reaction, and we all heard it from Daniel over every interview he did for a week and a half or 2 weeks. First thing I did, jumped in my car. First thing I did is get in the vehicle. First thing I did is go drive around and search all the rivers and the streams and the culverts. First thing I did, get in my car. First thing I did is drove here. That's a big problem because your children feel safer in the woods and you have a four-wheeler. So the biggest red flag, the dead giveaway for me is that Daniel put himself in the vehicle and now had to have a reason why he's in that vehicle. And the other thing is when was he in that vehicle? How long was he gone? Because the only time frame that Daniel gives us is that he did all this. First thing he did is jump in the vehicle and drive here and drive there and look here and look there, blah, blah, blah. Never gives us a time frame, just the first thing he did. Then he comes back in with a time frame, but it's vague because it's 10 minutes, which turns out to be that he's back for 10 minutes only. Not that he was gone 10 minutes. No, no. He never qualifies if he was gone from like before 6 a.m. when she called the school and said they were missing. We don't know what time Daniel went out with that car. Daniel's little time frame is that 10-minute window that he's at home. And then he says, then I went into the woods. So the woods was his second choice. That's when he went running through all this stuff up to his waist. All of a sudden, he starts telling all these stories about screaming until his throat hurt and all that. I mean, face it. The only reason those kids would have went on that road at all. So the road is the last place that Daniel feels that they are. Just no, they won't cross that. They won't go there. And if you can teach your kids about how the road is dangerous, why have you not taught them about stranger danger? If they can comprehend danger and fear it enough to obey and not cross the road, why, on the other hand, have you not asked Lily and Jack if they're aware of stranger danger? Why did Daniel choose to get in his car first and not the four-wheeler and start going through the woods first?
Yeah, it's a bit strange. He should have really, if he, because he also said about them being in the woods, didn't he? So you'd
Yeah,
thought that would be the first place he looked.
but he didn't.
No, no.
So it's a dead giveaway to me. It
Mhm.
tells me he was in a vehicle, and in case his vehicle got seen by anybody, he needed an excuse.
Yeah, it makes sense now. Makes
And that
sense
lack
now.
of time, that lack of time, he could have been gone for, he could have. So let's say that, let's just hypothetically say that by 6 o'clock, they know the kids are not in the house for some reason or something has happened. Okay. And so Malaya's like, oh, I'll call him in sick, right? That could give them 2 hours before they, quote, "last see the kids." However, if you look at it from 6 to 10, this is 4 hours. He could have driven 2 hours away with those children and still made it
Wow.
back in time to get on a four-wheeler and head into the woods. 4
Yeah.
hours. 4.
Mm,
How's that make you think?
that's giving me Chris what's his name vibes now.
And so my first thought was canvas the ground by foot first, not jump in my car and drive around looking for my kids while I'm frantic. And so that triggered me as to why would Daniel, knowing that he's the one that's adamantly telling us these kids won't cross the road because he's taught them that the road is dangerous, obviously, and that it's not allowed. Why would that be his first thought to get in the car?
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? You've
Mhm.
got me thinking a completely different way now.
This is what I'm
Completely different.
saying. Yeah.
And the fact that he asked for a polygraph, well, that's the first thing a guilty person would do anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's not gonna be admissible in court, and if you fail it, nobody's gonna know, and you can just tell the cops, "Well, I'm a nervous wreck, my kid's missing," right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about polygraph. Rach, listen to this. Daniel wanted to prove to the online crazy speculators he was innocent by volunteering to take a polygraph, right?
Yeah.
He said that. Am I
Mm.
wrong?
No.
Okay, he said he wanted to prove it to us because we're crazy speculators. All right,
Yeah.
Daniel was polygraphed. He did, he took a polygraph, but he told reporters it was favorable for him. Did he actually pass? That's not a yes.
No, it isn't, is it? That's a it could be either way. It could be inconclusive.
Correct.
Isn't that a
You
word for
nailed what
you?
I'm thinking.
Inconclusive.
I don't think he got a clear, like, yes, you passed it flying colors, or he would have been like, I told you I'd pass it, but he
Yeah.
didn't.
I think it got an inconclusive.
The children's stepfather, Daniel Martel, says he has been interviewed extensively since Lily and Jack were first reported missing.
You mentioned last time we chatted that you'd offered to do a polygraph test.
That is
Has that
correct.
already happened?
That has happened.
Right. And did you get results from that yet?
I do have results, and I don't know if I can share those results, but they were good in my favor, we'll say that.
How can I be guilty? I offered to do a lie detector. I wouldn't do that
You,
if I was guilty.
yep. First thing Daniel said he did, Rachel.
Got in the car.
On
You
every
don't.
interview and family, you said, in my opinion, children were never brought home from being seen by family around 1 p.m. Thursday, May 1st. OMG. That could make sense why there's no scent. This four-wheeler is the cleanest, most well-kept piece of property there is on that place. He had access to several four-wheelers. Now, if you're in that situation at that trailer house and them kids aren't hurt, do you think you're going to have a better chance finding them in a vehicle or jumping on that four-wheeler? Why do you need a vehicle? Even if you're going to go on the road, okay? Four-wheelers do excellent on the road and can go almost as fast as a car. And if you need to go off-road, you could go off-road and then back on the road. Why take a vehicle?
No reason. No reason.
Exactly. And to say that they're searching is a very common excuse when actually they're doing something else. Let's get over to the poll real quick, you guys. What do you feel happened to Lily and Jack Sullivan? The least favorite answer is that the children wandered into the woods. Okay. And that is answer C. Third favorite answer with the least votes would be answer A, abduction by a stranger. With the second place answer coming in with answer B, an accident cover up at home. D, by a huge amount at 60% foul play at home. Again, the four-wheeler is a big concern why it wasn't used first. That's my biggest fear, is that there should be no reason to take a car. So Daniel stated he came home for about 10 minutes before going into the woods to search. Where did he drive? How long was he driving? If Lily was seen around 8 a.m., why were they not reported right away? Why wait till 10 a.m.? Claire says, if he stated they walked off into the woods, then surely you'd be on foot through the woods. Remember, the kids are familiar with the woods. Good point. Good point. I just want to go back up here and just tell you all, thank you so incredibly much for being with me today. And I appreciate you. Like Rach says, you matter. And I pray for I just pray that Jack and Lily are found. It's been 28 days since May 2nd. They were last seen by public on May 1st, sometime in the afternoon. Did the parents have a 4-hour head start if the mother was already calling in the school and telling them that the kids aren't going to be there because Lily is a cop at 6 a.m.? And then not reported till 10. That's a really uncomfortable feeling for me, for Jack, for Lily. So you guys, thank you so much again. Please smash that like button. Now remember, if you want to know when I go live again, just subscribe, make sure, and stay in tune with our community bulletin board. I'll see you again very, very soon.